Again, I'm back with another video, and today this is a response to a video called Cynthia G Tried to Warn the Black Man to No Avail. This is by YouTuber NX, who I am a subscriber to and a fan of. This video she did like a week or so ago. Let me see if I see it right here in the scroll. I'm going to tell you, go watch this. Oh, this one. Abusive black men. There's a war on black women. We know who with ... It's like 43 minutes, 49 seconds. It is, woo. I laughed, I cried. I laughed and cried some more. It was good. That's a good video. I might need to respond to that one just in like the point by points. The points that she makes debunking this, one of these, this crypt keeper looking ass nigga with his old ass running his mouth about some bullshit. It was good. 43 minutes that you will enjoy. So, watch this, like, share, and subscribe, and then go watch that. I mean, that video is straight fire. Anywho, so I was struck to do a response to this one because Cynthia G. Oh, actually, that's one other point I wanted to look up. And maybe if I don't get to it, maybe I'll save it for part 2. I can maybe just reference it. So Cynthia G, another black woman YouTuber, if you're looking at, you probably know her story. You can always just go look her up here, look at her history and what have you. Basically, she's, I guess, AKA evil albinoid chick. And she's made a series of videos, trying to warn, black men and black people collectively about white supremacy and yada, yada, yada. And so I'm kind of taking part of this point in this video is just kind of for Annex to kind of, I don't want to say synthesize. It's not the word I'm looking for. Well, I get the point with this title in conjunction to what's here in the video is that Cynthia G tried to warn them about white supremacy, and from the subjects that she covers here in the video, I totally get the title and I like what she attempts to do here. So I was so struck by that, and then I was watching the video and seeing some names and just some information that I was already very well tuned into. I thought this would be a perfect response video to like I've been just kind of doing recently, responding to someone I'm already subscribed to in the more black woman centric circles, following their train of thought, offering some kind of like, I guess in a way one-sided back and forth in terms of them making the video, me commenting on it, and so on and so forth. So anywho, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to play a little bit of the video, and I'm going to jump out and show you some stuff, and then I'm going to go back in and kind of go point by point to one of the closing remarks that Ann X makes towards the end of the video. But so first, I'm just starting kind of midway in, because what she did is she pulled up actually this. And I already restarted it too, so let's just refresh that. Now, the first thing that caught me when Ann linked this, because I was like, NPI, I know what NPI is. And I saw the logo, and then she started playing the video, because this is the same video. You can see here, same title, same amount of views. Let's scroll down to the user, NPI support, uploaded March 21st, 2008. Now, on hers, I don't know if you can see that much. You see the global population plummet to 1 digit, and also the number of views is an exact match, 446, 110. Where did mine go? 446, 742. People are still watching this. And so the first thing I was struck by is like I saw the NPI logo, and then I looked at the person who uploaded this. This isn't. I mean, it's information, and it's basically it's like kind of maybe like a fan vid might be the best term, but someone who probably follows NPI and that's clued into the demographic changes. They put this up, they added the logo, they call himself NPI supporter, but this is not actually from NPI's channel, because they actually do pretty glossy, nice, well put together productions. This is, it's not bad. Like, I'm holding a cell phone in front of my Acer laptop, so I'm not trying to be like so highfalutin about my tech game. Again, as you keep watching this channel, which I hope you'll like, share, subscribe, things will change. I'm just trying to get these things out and just start actually making videos. All the actual camera. I maybe want to do some cooking videos and all the kinds of cool stuff. So that's all to come. But anyway, so I'm just saying I was surprised just it seems like kind of lo-fi, you know, here's some clips, but this isn't an actual NPI video. Someone just took a lot of these statistics and put them together. They call themselves NPI supporter, and then back at the beginning, they're using the logo. And it's funny because that struck me. That's probably his actual P.O. Box address, or was at some point, because actually they're based out of Alexandria, Virginia now, as Ann X points out in her video. So this is actually the Radix channel, and I think what I'm going to do here, this is, well, NPI, maybe I should back up first. So, if we're talking about NPI, well, Ann's going to say, she's going to pull like a bit of dialogue from the Wikipedia search that she did on it. So I think there's something I want to do quickly with that, just as an aside to this discussion. So let me, because this is what she pulled up. I don't know if she clicked into the link or not, but she read basically the first paragraph of the Wikipedia stuff. Now, this is where with colleges and people always get really iffy with you about Wikipedia stuff. I think Wikipedia is great when you are just kind of looking up certain things in a very summary. I like to always go follow up with a secondary source, because it's the great thing about it is anyone can upload, they can say things, but especially when it comes to politics and race, you know, people will say and do things a certain way and what have you. So I'm actually not going to play it because, so basically, well, I'll play it because what Annex is going to do is just go into the search. So let's just play it real quick. Because I'll let her read it and I can just counterpoint back.
Let me take a look over here. I went and looked it up. I was just very curious.
Maybe I should go full screen.
That was called the NPI that put that video out. And the NPI is the National Policy Institute, is a white supremacist think tank based in Alexandria, Virginia. It acts as a lobbying group for white supremacists and the alt-right. Its president is Richard B. Spencer, and its executive director is Evan McLaren. I want you guys to focus on a few keywords in that. One being policy. Okay? White men make policy. And when they feel threatened, they will align themselves and put themselves in positions to make policy that will affect your life. And if you have absolutely no power to protect yourself.
Okay, I'm just going to pause. So she gave us the stub. And so, yeah, so again, I just, you know, you do like a web search, you get the major links. So this is what she was citing. This is the National Policy Institute stub on Wikipedia. And white supremacist think tank, Alexandria, Virginia, lobbying group for white supremacists and the alt-right. So the first thing I guess I kind of want to hone in on, because I think this will be something often repeated here as we discuss these racial issues in terms of white identity, black identity, non-white identity in general, and what have you. I revisit the dictionary. So we're operating on a very clear definition of the terms supremacist and nationalist. They get thrown around so much, they get interchanged, what have you. So let's just hone in on those terms. So a supremacist is defined as one who believes that a certain group is or should be supreme. And then a following noun description of that term is a person who promotes or advocates the supremacy of any particular group. So that's what we have here, thefreedictionary.com. I like Merriam-Webster, but the site wasn't working when I was researching yesterday. So there's supremacists. Now we go over to nationalism. Devotion, especially excessive or undiscriminating devotion to the interests or culture of a particular nation state. The belief that nations will benefit from acting independently rather than collectively, emphasizing national rather than international goals. The belief that a particular cultural or ethnic group constitutes a distinct people deserving of political self-determination. So you have those two terms, we have those definitions there. What I'm going to do is let's go over to NPI's channel, because they actually have a channel here. It's NPI/Radix. So I guess just offer a little bit more. I'll just kind of circle back around. Actually, no. So I'm going to play a brief, the remaining clip of this promo video they have on the kind of launch page for their YouTube page. Just like it's like a 4-minute video. I'm going to play the last half in a second. But first, NPI, National Policy Institute, has its own website. Its homepage, some articles, University of Florida, which is where Richard was speaking. So this is their about. Let's see if the about matches the support us. What do they kind of do? So let's just go to the about page for NPI and just take a look at what it says. Yep. So I'm just gonna let you read it here. If I hold the camera steady enough, you could just read it yourself, or you could pause the video right here. I'll just hold it for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And we'll just leave that there. So I'm just going to back up and just move over to, I guess I'll show you the 2 other kind of branches of National Policy Institute. There's Radix Journal, and then there's altright.com. Now, Radix Journal has probably been around a little bit long. After NPI, Radix Journal is kind of like their kind of offshoot. And here they describe themselves as Radix publishes original work on culture, race, tradition, metapolitics, and critical theory. The journal has 2 interrelated components. It's online magazine, Radix Journal, and a biannual print journal and publishing imprint. And so we have Andrew Joyce, Richard Spencer, Hannibal Bateman with the leadership here. Gives a little bit of a definition of where the term Radix comes from and just why they chose that as the title. And then the most newest incarnation out of NPI kind of moving into Radix is now altright.com, which is undergoing some renovation and should be live again in 5 days. It doesn't look too much unlike the other site. So basically that's, you can take the Wikipedia sub and read it. It doesn't matter who it is. It's just, I'm always kind of like, I use Wikipedia to start some places, some things, but I don't use it to fully answer a question about, like, I want to know who someone or something is. It's not like a direct criticism to Ann in the video. I just think, especially Richard Spencer, he's not one of the more fringy persons. Or NPI, you see they have a website that's just dedicated to the Institute. They have a website just about their spinoff where they do a lot of publishing. And then eventually altright.com will be back up, which is a relatively new site. It has articles. It's kind of like a mirror for Radix, if you will. It's out there. If you're just going to look at the Wikipedia stuff, and then there are white supremacists, and then going back to the definitions that we just went over about those 2 words, I just kind of go, a lot of the info is right there just to kind of be discovered, just dig a little deeper. So if we go back to their page on YouTube, with a series of videos, I'll just open this up and let's just kind of hear from Richard Spencer and from NPI. This is because that's once you see the video, see why when she posted that clip, I was like, that's not an NPI video. They got some cameras and some nice cameras and shit. I was like, that is not an NPI video. That's like me and my bootleg ass and my phone in front of my computer right now. So, anywho, you see it's about 4 minutes long. I just skipped to the end because I think this part it's a conclusion. It kind of coalesces. Obviously, you can go right back to YouTube and find their channel. But anywho, let's watch.
Who are we? We aren't just white. White is a checkbox on a census form. We are part of the people's history, spirit, and civilization of Europe. This legacy stands before us as a gift and as a challenge. For what our ancestors took for granted, we must discover, we must renew. Some might say that this task is impossible. But nothing necessary is ever impossible, so long as we avoid and deny our identities. At a time when every other people is asserting its own, we will have no chance to resist our dispossession, no chance to make our future, no chance to find and another horizon. So who are we? I guess the real question is, are we ready to become who we are?
Looking all glossy here. Yeah, so that is the kind of who are we video on their site. And I guess let's see, I think, well, one thing that came to mind, you see the Black Lives Matter people, and all these different protests. So a lot of what we're talking about here in our scene is, I'm just going to mute this so I can go back to look at images, is so identity, race, pride, culture. I mean, I think this video kind of, it's very promotional, like, who are we and what have you. But look at this Black Lives Matter clip that they use in the link. And so even as we, as in a lot of these black women circles, we talked about how this black male is a pimp arc, how we're very obstinate and we don't want to change. And then, we're getting to a point where we're saying a lot of this protesting and throwing the fist up, especially for us getting out here information for a race, particularly people who don't care about us and who want to see, especially the darkest, nappiest amongst us out here protesting and fighting. A lot of these messages are being fed back into greater white society and other groups, like, everyone else. So basically the point that he made in this video, everyone else is advocating for themselves and their identity. So it's not just the black people. If there's a clip in here of the Hispanics marching and, very pro-Jewish, pro-Israel type people. Everyone else has this identity that they're able to, parade. So like when we try to call someone like NPI or Richard Spencer and them supremists, well, then what is it when black people advocate for themselves and their identity? What is it when, Jewish people do it? What is it when Hispanic people do it? Because again, if we go back to the distinction between the two terms, so supremacist means someone who should be supreme. Now, this isn't the best example to get into, but a lot of what's here in this video is just becoming who you are, and in its terms for them being proud of being a part of a greater white European heritage. Like you saw those really great clips of Nikola Tesla, and some of them I know who they are, some of them I don't. I mean, gets that kind of like, that's some old white guy. But no, I'm not trying to be cheeky, but that's why I really love. I'm saying some of those figures are representative, and I recognize, but this is a very brief snippet of white civilization and European-based history, and that anyone can be proud of. And being a person like myself who lives in the Western world, to have access to and be living in the byproduct of a lot of those great ideas and thinkers who are and happen to be of white Western European heritage, that's something pretty awesome. So when there's just this article saying, oh, they're just white supremacists, like, again, I see more of the second definition here. There's nothing about we're white and we should rule everyone. I think that you'll find out more and more when you dig into more of these groups and where they vary, where they all agree, where they're very disparate in terms of what they agree upon. There's a lot of, we don't want to rule over anybody. So even going back to Ann's video with the kind of like, this should scare, at the very beginning part, said this should scare the bejesus out of you. It's like, no, it really shouldn't. I mean, I get why black women feel this way. I get why black people in general, but I get especially why we, because it's more of a woman thing. And especially since we have no last line defense, I think the black woman particularly, what I'm hoping to work through on this channel is, I understand why you feel this way about, especially in terms of whites. And when you see clips like this and you see, like that video that she posted, there's just like, well, what's going on? What's this? What's that thing? And I get it, but there's reasons that this is happening, and there's reasons why as black people we should take a listen and try to unpack it, because we don't have a last line of defense. And I'm just gonna skip to this right now. There's a really great point at the 15-minute mark where Ann says it best. I don't know how long this will let me go. I'm getting right up on the 20-minute mark, so let's just play the clip, and if I'm still here, we'll keep it running. But if not, oh, that was the other one. Okay, is this it?
Grown men. Wow, these white supremacists out here, they're not playing with you. The reason I did this particular type of video is because we're out here banging our heads up against the wall, defending ourselves from the rhetoric of our own men, while these white supremacists out here, they're not playing with you. Now, I've given up a long time ago on trying to make that group of black men, not all black men, but that group of black men care about one another and care about black women. Now, if a black woman is on here and she's talking, about let's empower black men, let's beg our black men to stay, they're all up in the comment section telling her how beautiful she is. She's so lovely. And complaining about what other black women do. But if a black woman is out here trying to tell them what's making us unhappy and why we want to divest from the black community, then we're every kind of bitch and whore in the book. Mm-hmm. There ain't no black man sitting around with a think tank that is trying to improve the black community of the future. It ain't happening. But there are white supremacists that are sitting out here and they are planning and plotting you.
Okay, I'm just going to pause it there because, obviously you can tell from the context of things I've already kind of said and what I've shown in this video, where I kind of sit with this issue, but that says it in a nutshell. This black man ain't doing nothing for you. He ain't out here with no think tank. His think tank is sitting on YouTube, running his mouth with a bunch of other black men. Or, in this even in real life, that from the bus stop to the office, he not doing nothing. He's a pimp arc. As Kendall St. Charles and numerous other black women circles have she brought that term forward. He's running a pimp arc mindset. And there's no building. It's just the spewing, the hatred, the this, the that, the hairweaves, the makeup. And so you could think what you want to think about NPI. You could think what you want to think about Radix. So even with taking Ann, I'm just taking her fully what she's saying. Like, yeah, you're right. There is nothing going on with these black males. They're not here to do anything for you. This black man collectively, since the beginning of time, basically, for most of our history, there's no producing, providing, or protecting. Just as I showed you, the NPI and Radix, these are people, mostly white and men, who are making plans for themselves and for their future and for their posterity. And you just have to kind of accept that and not really deal in these abstractions anymore. Yeah, so I'm glad she did this because it was interesting just to see things I was familiar with and that I already kind of had an ear to and have her cover this. So I just think it's a good video in terms of it's not that it disagree or it's not agree disagree. It's I'm looking at this same thing, this organization, the white demographics that she's talking about, and the kind of planning and things like I showed you, And also, I guess I take issue the term lobby. It's it's a lobby in terms of but a lot of this nonprofit 501c3 think tanks of people thinking and producing policy papers. So there's kind of overarching these white supremacists are planning to do something. It's not. That requires a whole nother video unto itself and things that I will go deeper into and explore. But it's funny. I keep thinking all this. The hair-hatted hooligans and the BT 1000s, all this stuff. Where are some general well-made websites? Now you can't say these aren't well-made, good websites, well-made videos, well-produced information. That's for and this is not a big group of nefarious whites. I mean, they're growing in numbers and the ideas are spreading more than anything. But where is this for the black male? So you can we can play with white supremacy and we're gonna be debunking that on this channel too, by the way. That's to come. But you can't say there's anything like that for us or for the benefit of black people. So I don't particularly besides already thinking it's a hoax and it's a lie, I don't really give a rat's ass about white supremacy. If I really hate white supremacy, I'm going to take this computer and I'm going to throw it out the window. I'm going to go take that water pump downstairs and toss it out. I'm going to go in my car and remove that internal combustion engine inside of it. Because that's how much, I really hate white supremacy. Anyway, so we're getting a little long in the tooth for this one. Right up on the 25-minute mark. I think I'm just going to stop here. I want to come back because there's actually a Richard Spencer interview with Tree of Logic. And there's, well, it's still going at 25. I'm still learning this. I'm going to go back and redo these videos one day. You'd be like, what is she doing? But I just don't want it to cut off. That's really annoying. And you try to go back and follow up a day later. And you're like, wow. Anyway, so it looks like it's still going. So what I'm going to do is just take the chance. This is Tree of Logic. She's a pretty notable black conservative type ex-cop, and she actually interviewed Richard Spencer discussing the alt-right. See if you're in the corner, I'm going to go back and watch this. I'm going to do a video on this. She also interviewed Jared Taylor, who's also kind of in the similar circles as Richard Spencer, and you should find him very interesting as well. But so one other avenue about the alt-right and NPI, she interviews him, and he gives us this little blurb about how it came to be. I think I'm going to play like 2 seconds of it just so you can see him explaining the kind of backstory. And then I want to move over to this recent clip of him with this British guy getting into it about identity, race, nationality. Looks like it's maybe outside the Amarin conference, or maybe, I don't know where it is. Some kind of conference somewhere. So let's start with him and Tree of Logic. He also just gives a backstory about NPI.
I appreciate that insight. Let me ask you something about NPI. In 2005, well, you're the president, and in 2005 it was founded by William Regnery. Is that how you pronounce it?
Regnery, yeah.
Yeah. When did you take it over? Was it 2008 or 2010?
Yes, it's probably closer to 2010. Basically, this person, Samuel Francis, who's a really great thinker, he came out of the conservative movement, actually. Although he was always more radical, but he did come out. And then in the mid-90s, he spoke at a Jared Taylor conference, American Renaissance, and so on, and was just expelled from the movement. He was a fascinating guy. His historical knowledge, he's forgotten more about history than I've ever learned about history. I mean, he's a tremendous scholar. And a very interesting theorist. I disagree with Samuel Francis in certain ways, but I have tremendous respect. And anyway, the NPI was founded for him by William Regnery, and it was the first. Bill thought that we could create this institute, we would raise a flag, and that all of these people would come to us, that had been just waiting for this. Well, it's been a struggle. To be honest, but it was founded for Sam.
Yeah, I'm going to pause it right there because just him saying that and kind of just tying back into Annex's original commentary that, I'm not saying she isn't saying this, but it's like all these white supremacists and they're playing and they're plotting, and I may have to come back to this later, but there's a lot of history with NPI getting bounced from event hotels and conference places because they're evil white supremacists. We can't have them here, man. So this whole idea, like they're so organized and swiftly moving, like, Richard Spencer's, him and Evan McLaren are always they've really started challenging legality of universities that do receive public funding and challenge them on the strict, First Amendment, right to freedom of speech laws, that if you take public funding, you can't deny someone, speaking. So there's a lot of issues with them trying to be heard. Plenty of white, normal, I would say normal, there's plenty of white people give them the more pushback than anybody. So one thing I believe is just not to take it like this, they're just big, swift moving, full of money and full of white voices right there ready to, just take off and fly. So